This is taking longer than I expected. With the Maffetone method, I thought I would see the benefits so much faster. The people who successfully start running later in life generally fall into 3 categories. There are those people that are really good athletes that got into running that have been physically active for years. The other group are those that had a come to Jesus moment, like I did, like midlife crisis. In some cases, they were leading an unhealthy lifestyle before they got into running. The last is someone who was a good runner when they were younger, took time off and they're now back running again, and they're really good again. I know some runners these days that can't really answer why they aren't winning races, why they're not able to run longer, why they're injured more and more. But day after day, they keep asking the question, why can't I get faster? Because the truth is, given the choice, they'd be perfectly happy winning races, but that's not the case anymore. We're older, there's different things that happen to our bodies. While it's true that lifelong runners might have tired legs from running the tens of thousands of miles, I could turn around and say, wait a minute, I thought that training is what builds up all of your cardiovascular and muscular skeletal systems. So why shouldn't my 100,000 miles make me a better runner than a guy that's only run 20,000 in 10 years? I've been thinking about this too. I've been thinking about the purpose of exercising and how it actually changes as people age. Elite athletes have always competed for medals, money, records, recognition. It's different for people who start running in middle age or later. Because at the end of this video, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So that way you can be able to run longer, faster at the same heart rate, and enjoy your running. It's one of those days, my run didn't happen this morning. I ended up having to show some properties and do a little bit of chauffeuring with my family around early this morning. So right now I'm on the west coast of Ontario on Lake Huron. And guys, I'm in a town called Bayfield, and if you've seen any of my videos in the past, you know I love Bayfield. It's a really beautiful, cool looking town, seaside town, and I'm going to go run here. I'll show you some video as I go, and I'll talk to you about, some of the expectations about maybe why you're not seeing results, and maybe how long it takes to improve using the Maffetone method to get out and do some running. How long it takes you to improve using the Maffetone method is going to depend on everybody. Each and every one of us are different. So if you're overweight, if you're just coming back from an injury, or you've just started running, look, your results on how fast you get using this method is going to differ. Like, I know some people have been running for years and years and years, but they've been redlining for so long that they're, they hit adrenal fatigue and they're done. And so you can only burn the candle at one end before it ignites on the other end, and then you're doomed. So everybody's going to be different. Everyone's going to see results differently. Like, I'm seeing different results that I'm doing this for a second time than I did my first time. The first time I'd been running for a lot longer before I decided to take this up. However, I didn't have as much weight on my frame as I do now. Another key factor is if you're taking up running for the first time, guys, it may be a long time before you see results. It could be months. You could regress. But it all comes down to you, which leads into the next one, And that's consistency. If you're just doing this for like, I don't know, 15 minutes a day, it's gonna be hard to see results. But you may wanna go ahead and start walking, start hiking. That there could be a good starting point for, you know, anyone who's just kind of starting out using this method. If you wanna see the results, you gotta put in the training. Going out and running 2 times a week, 30 minutes, at your MAF pace isn't gonna do it. You gotta get out there at least 4 times a week and put in 45 minutes to an hour. And then build from there, because you will see results as time goes by. Now, if you're starting out using this method because you've just come off the track, because you haven't been seeing any results, well, any results that you're happy with in your marathon training or half marathon training, or even a 10K, you will definitely be seeing different results. You weigh a lot less, you've been training a lot more, but a lot of people kind of underestimate how well their cardiovascular system is developed. There are some people who run for years and years and years, even decades, and have an amazing aerobic base that wouldn't see any results if they just started to do this method, because they've already built up that base. Now let's talk about how this all kind of ties together if you want to start doing 80-20. Look, it's not rocket science. 80% of your runs, you run at your MAF heart rate. And 20% you're doing strides, you're doing fartleks, you're doing some track work, tempo runs, threshold runs. Go ahead, throw that in. Now you want to do that for a period of time, maybe a month, and then, you know, taper that back, and then try doing Maffetone Method full time again to see if maybe that's kind of kick-started your system. Because sometimes if you're using this method, you run, you're really slow, and then all of a sudden you kind of stop and you don't see results anymore. Sometimes your body just needs like a kick in the ass to get going again. And it's good to get out there to do some speed runs. Now, Phil Maffetone, he doesn't always talk about running slow all the time. This is just a method of some way of tracking your fitness, your lifestyle, to see if you are improving or if you are regressing. I'm not here to say Phil Maffetone is 100% correct. I don't know. I'm just another runner just like you. And I found that method and it seemed to have worked for me. And I quite enjoy it. Now, if I started running, you know, 190 minus my age, is that going to make a difference? Whether the 180 rule? Look, these are just rules. There are so many different ways of training. Jack Daniels, Matt Galloway, you know, look at the way the elites train. You know, there's a run walk method. There's just so many different ways to run. Don't get caught up in the weeds, right? If you're seeing results, if you're running 90% of your runs slow and 10% fast, and you're seeing results time and time again, then cool, stick with it. But you just gotta find something that you can dig your heels into and stay consistent for a while. Just give it the time of day. Because at the end of the day, why are we running? Are we running to get on the podium? Are we running for a medal? Are we running for money? Or are we literally just running for a PB to get out, have some fun, and maybe outrun old age? Right? Everyone's different. For me, I just get out and run. I enjoy it, brings me happiness, and I feel pretty epic for the rest of the day. Now, I know some of you wanted me to give you a time frame of what you can expect. I'm a little different than you guys, and to be quite honest, it's kind of hard to pinpoint the results and what you can see, but I'm going to tell you, after a week and a half of running continuously, this is what it looks like to me. I track all of my training using the Coros Training Hub. I also track it with Strava, and I just want to show you a few things because this does work. It really does. Now, whether it's the consistency or whether it is just running slow, look, they're probably linked, okay? But take a look at this, right? I mean, I started on Tuesday of last week, right? This is just kind of where I decided I was just going to start experimenting. And then I kind of took it along, and I just kept going day after day, 10 kilometers, 6 miles, right? Every day, every day. On the weekend, I did 13 kilometers. Again, on Monday, I just kept at it day in and day out, and I just kept plugging and plugging and plugging away. Now, when you take a look, and I'll show you today's run, this is what I find very fascinating when you use this method, or even if you're just running and you're using whatever method you are using. If you're consistent with this, some really cool things happen. I use the matched routes on Strava, and I can see, look, I started off when I started experimenting on the run, it was 7:25 a kilometer pace, right? 1 hour, 14 minutes, 10 seconds. That's where I was at. And then I kind of regressed. I was kind of doing this running again. It's hot, it's humid, I'm dealing with the elements. But day after day, I would continue to do this run. And in time, and today, right, I shaved off basically 4 minutes. So 7:01 kilometer pace. I'm happy with this. This is phenomenal. It works. And if you're out there thinking, man, I have to find some way of getting faster, guy, this works. Try it, right? If it doesn't work for you, then that's cool. But you got to give it a go. You got to be consistent. You got to eat well. You have to make sure that you're getting your sleep, reducing your stress. Know that the weather is going to play a big part of what goes on with your heart rate. You have to know all these things. But if you continue to do slow running, it pays off. And if you keep track of this, some great things happen. So that's just what's going on with me. And I just continue on my journey. So 100 miles is, not just going to happen for me. I have to train for this. Now, if you're thinking about using this method and you really want to know how it all gets put together and all the things that you need to know, check out this video here, because it will really help you in your running and in your training. It's like I always say, get out and run.